Hello, and welcome to episode 6 of the 0451 Gaming Podcast with me, Simon, and Giles.
Six.
Six?
Almost getting towards double figures.
Oh, it's like every time we talk about the episode number, we're always perpetually surprised.
So yeah, like it's never... They grow up so fast.
Wow, episode 6. Cool. Lots of things have been happening. Although you've been away, Giles.
Yes, I have been away, so my contribution will be less than normal. I haven't been playing so much.
What have you been playing in the time you've been away?
So actually, since I've been away, I've played barely anything. But before I went away, I played some stuff. But it's basically like more of the stuff we spoke a little about last week. So I played more Vampyr, which... Let's just talk about Vampyr for a second. So, there are things about that game that I love. Really love. But it is so unstable. I don't know if it's just the PS4 version or what, the console version, but it is so... I don't know how it's going to run on a fucking Switch. But it's so unstable, it's like it's fighting me for me to complete it. So, like, so often...
These are the console version?
Yeah, so I'm playing on PS4, and so often it bugs out, NPCs don't do what they're supposed to, quest dialogues don't come up. I lost the Platinum Trophy because a trophy bugged out.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, did you just have to redo that trophy or something?
So I'll have to replay the entire game if I want that trophy. So
what?
Yeah, so now I'm at the point where I'm just like, I just want to finish it. I just want to finish the story. It crashed on me. I've lost count. So I remember saying last time it crashed on me 4 times. It crashed on me twice last night, and I only played it for like 45 minutes.
Is that trophy, is that because you have to do a particular style of playthrough?
Yeah, so you have to... and
it doesn't recognise that you did do that.
Yeah, you have to beat the game without killing anyone. Without, killing anyone yourself. And, yeah, it just says that I've killed somebody even though I haven't. They're alive, but it says that they're dead. So the trophy's just fucked.
Shit.
A lot of the time, quest dialogue just doesn't come up, or like they won't trigger. There's just so many, but it's just, and it crashes all the time. And it's not my console. I've checked. It's not my console. It just crashes all the time. It's so unstable. So I'm basically fighting my way to the end of that game at the moment. I just want to finish it. Maybe I'll go back and platinum it if they patch it. I don't know. But at this point, it's a war of attrition, trying to finish the fucking thing. So, yeah, I guess I'm enjoying it in spite of those things. And I, after our discussion last week, I picked up Hitman 2016 again. Now let's have a moment to talk about how good Hitman is. So I am a little bit obsessive compulsive with games. So I think that it initially put me off because it's overwhelming.
You picked up on PS4?
No, so I'm playing it on PC.
Oh, okay.
I do have it on PS4, but it runs better on PC and it loads quicker and stuff. So initially it's overwhelming, I think, for somebody like me, because there are so many ways you can do anything. Mm-hmm. But I think as well, removing trophies from the equation and things like that. I mean, it doesn't even have a platinum trophy on PS4 anyway, but neither does the second one, weirdly.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, regardless, just looking at it as it is, it's actually a lot. If you just approach it like, I don't know, I've been approaching it in the most opportunistic way possible. So like, I've literally just been surveilling areas and doing what comes naturally. And my plan is to play through every mission once, and then go back and do them in different ways. Yeah. Rather than sort of spending hours and hours on one, partly because I want to get to the second one as well, because it looks great. Yeah. But interestingly, I've got Silent Assassin on every mission I've beat so far.
Oh, that's good.
So I must be doing something right, but a lot of that has involved, like, I've reloaded quite a lot and, like, observed.
Do you have opportunities turned on?
No. Oh, maybe I do.
Yeah, it's like a light bulb thing. That comes
yeah, I think I do. which I guess people would think is a bit too guided, but I actually quite like it.
It's fine. I think that is the default mode.
Yeah.
Have opportunities on.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know you could turn them off, but
you can. You can turn
sense.
a lot of that stuff off. I think. And in the PC, I think it was probably the PC Gamer review I saw of it originally back in 2016. Recommended you turn it off just so it's not too guided. But I actually think that especially for new players or returning players, or if you find it overwhelming at first, then it is good to turn it on.
I mean, I quite like using it as like, because I mean, obviously that's granular difficulty stuff, which is awesome. But like, I quite like using it as a. So I don't. It's not like I look out for them, but it's kind of a nice way of assessing all your options. So you go and you overhear something, and then it logs it, but you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You can go and look for something else.
Yeah.
So I did. I've done Paris, and I've done. What's the second? Sapienza, yeah.
World of Tomorrow.
Yeah, so I've done those at Silent Assassin, and I want to go back and because there's so many things because even the challenges indicate new ways of beating that level that I didn't even know about. Apparently there's a way. I really want to do this one challenge in Paris where you set off the fireworks and you snipe both targets.
Yes.
I don't know where the fucking fireworks are. I have no idea, but.
I've done that one.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to ask for your help on it, actually, because I know you put 8 hours or something just into Paris.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's all this awesome shit to do. But, last night I only got back from my travels yesterday. And so I was like, you know what? I'll play another level of Hitman. And, of course, the next level is fucking Marrakesh.
Yeah.
Christ! Talk about large and intricate. I mean, they're all large and intricate, but, Marrakesh is what the fuck? Overwhelmingly so. Both your targets are on opposite ends of the map, and there's tons of NPCs. And I got into the I went to the general first, the 2 targets, and I got into the compound undetected.
Yeah.
But he paces around that top area.
Yeah.
And I can't get to a place where I can take him out. I can't see an opportunity right now. So I was like, this is getting frustrating. So I kind of left it. So I'm going to go back to it today and really kind of, because I was trying to, I think I was rushing it a bit, to be honest, because I wanted to finish it before the podcast today. But it is so large and there are so many things. I think there's a way to drop a toilet on his head.
Yes,
and I really want to drop a toilet on his head. But I'm how do I make him stand under the toilet?
There is a way.
So with Paris, what
was the first method?
So with Paris, I walked the catwalk.
Oh, you did? No way. That's interesting.
And I imitated that model.
Yeah, that's the best disguise. I think.
Yeah, I knocked him out, and then I imitated him, and I killed. So who are the two? Oh yeah, so
Viktor Novikov.
So yeah, I poisoned Novikov at the bar by pretending to be the bartender, and then followed him to the toilet and drowned him.
Yeah.
And then I pretended to be that model, and I got a meeting with the second target.
Yeah.
And she gave me the ricin for the target she wanted killing. And when she turned around for the phone call, I spiked her drink. Because, she has the phone call, and then she comes back and she's like, cheers. And then I stuck her in a wardrobe and left. And I left via the helicopter that's for that model as well. So that's how I did that one. And then the second level, I disguised myself. So if you go to the right of the compound at the start, there's an angry, is it a wife or a sister arguing with a guy about his first day at work.
You mean in Sapienza?
Yeah, in Sapienza in the second stage.
In this sort of main sort of square?
Yes, if you go right of the main building that you need to get into.
Yes.
So initially I went left and there's a flower guy, but I couldn't figure out how to take him out without anyone seeing me because I didn't want to kill anyone. So I saw these two arguing, and one of them is going to be in the kitchen staff.
Yes.
So I went up to his apartment, I knocked on his door, and he was like, yes. And I knocked him out, took his kitchen staff, went in, poisoned the food for the target, and then when he came down and ate it, I followed him and pushed him off the cliff, made it look like an accident.
Oh, yeah.
And then the second target, I sabotaged the plug socket. Where she steps outside.
Okay, awesome.
I don't know if you did it this way. You can sabotage the plug and then turn the hose on.
Yeah.
So she walks into an electrical.
It's become like a classic Hitman method. I don't think I actually did it that way. I did it some.
And then, I just carefully made my way down into the lab, taking disguises and not killing anyone.
Because you got to destroy the
sample. So I did that eventually, distracted them, destroyed that, and then I got out via the plane. But this is no spoilers because that is just the tip of the iceberg in the ways that you kill these people, right?
Sapienza's got some amazing ways of killing people.
Yeah, I was looking at the challenges and some of them are fucking mental. I'm like, I don't even know how you would even go about doing this. Or
did the exploding golf ball.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so you swap his golf ball for an explosive one. So when he's taking his shot, he hits it and it goes off.
That sounds fucking hilarious.
It's like,
oh my god!
You can also kill one of them with one of the antique cannons at the top of the. You can shoot a cannon. I think one of the challenges is shoot a cannon at the plane while it's trying to escape.
That's fantastic. But that's what I mean. So intricate. And there's some challenges that are beat the game, beat the level, beat the mission on the hardest difficulty. The master difficulty where you can only save once.
Yeah.
And everyone's really fucking high alert.
Yep.
Without changing out of your suit.
Yep.
And without anyone seeing you.
Yep.
It's like, what?
I did that in Paris. But
man.
Yeah, but only in Paris. But
awesome.
You kind of have to it requires a few playthroughs to know the level, to know who the guards are, to know what their movements are, to know what everybody does, that kind of thing.
I mean, that's
you can really get to the stage where you.
That's Hitman, though, right?
Yeah,
that's always been the case.
Yeah.
I can still remember. I have muscle memory of how to do So the one I played the most, I've beaten all of them, but the one I played the most before this one was, I've beaten all of them, not including 2016 or Hitman 2, the new Hitman 2. So up to this, but the one I played the most was Blood Money.
Yeah, that's the best one, I think, up until 2016.
And
I think
I still have muscle memory of how to beat pretty much all the levels in Silent Assassin, or most of them. Silent Assassin. I was thinking about it yesterday when I was playing Hitman in 2016, and I was thinking about Murder in Suburbia, and I got awesome method for that. And then Curtain's Call, which is one of the first missions.
Yeah.
And replacing the blank. So I used to do Curtain's Call by replacing the blank, and then when the guy runs off, I would blow the chandelier.
Yeah.
So and I was just thinking, it's basically that, but on some crazy scale where there's way more moving parts, right? Yeah. So I love it. I think that I'm going to buy Hitman 2 today. I hadn't bought it till now because I've been out of the country and whatever. Yeah. So, but I think I'm going to buy Hitman 2 today, and then I think I'm going to continue playing Hitman 1 in the Hitman 2
that's
engine.
A good idea.
Just you
may as well.
But I'm not sure whether to buy the gold edition or the regular, because I don't really know how big the expansions are going to be. With the first one, I have the full game, but I don't have Patient Zero.
Mm-hmm.
The extra campaign that you got for Game of the Year edition, because I bought it before Game of the Year edition came out.
Yep.
And I didn't really want to spend an extra 15 quid on it, but and other than that, so I guess we'll talk more about Hitman 2 as the podcast continues. But that's basically what I've been playing. Other than that, I also been chipping away at Diablo on Switch.
Nice.
Because I love Diablo 3. So
how long have you been playing that for now?
Switch version.
When did you get it?
I got it on launch, but I didn't play it at all while I was travelling. So I think I've got a level 30-ish Demon Hunter. That's all I've done. And I'm playing through the story of it again rather than going straight to arcade mode, because arcade mode's unlocked from the start on the Switch version. I don't know whether that's the same with the regular version now. Definitely wasn't when I first started playing it. But I guess the assumption is a lot of people who are buying the Switch version are buying it again. So they just want to hit max level so they can do rifts and seasonal shit. But I'm choosing to play through the story again with one class and then just do arcade mode with every other class. That's basically, I know that's not a lot, but that's basically all I've had time to play since last week. So fighting my way through Vampyr, loving Hitman, going to buy the second one. I'm going to buy a bunch, actually. I think I'm going to buy a Spyro today as well.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to that. But yes, so my assumption is you've been playing way more than I have.
Of Hitman 2, Well, I bought Hitman 2.
Yay!
Yeah, I bought him.
Did you buy the gold edition?
I didn't buy the gold edition. I bought the standard edition.
Right.
I got it for the very reasonable price of £34.
How did you? How?
Because apparently I'm a Green Man Gaming VIP.
So in Green Man, okay.
Yeah, Green Man Gaming gave me a big discount. It must be because I've just bought a bunch of stuff of them before.
Yeah, because I think it's 45 is the standard edition.
Yeah, it is.
Steam.
So I got like 24% off or something on it. So I was like, well, and the thing is, it was by then, it was sort of, I don't know, what was that, Tuesday night? No, yesterday. What was we on today? Thursday now. So
Thursday, yeah.
Would have been Tuesday night, so it was out the next day. I didn't have a massive amount of time anyway. And the rest of the content, I just thought, I don't know whether... The problem with buying like gold editions and silver editions and all that kind of thing is that I find that there's a bunch of new items in there, and then I can't tell sometimes what the new items are and whether they've made a difference to the standard edition.
I don't give a shit about the item packs, the extra weapons. I don't give a shit about that. What I care about is there's 2 expansions listed that are like new areas. Yeah. There'll be like new missions.
Yeah.
Basically new chapters. And like that is what I'm interested in. Like, is it going to be more beneficial for me to buy the gold edition so I don't have to worry about it, or should I just buy those expansions?
Because they'd be sort of discounted, I suppose. But I thought, again, with that kind of stuff, I'm going to spend time getting through the main content before I get to that anyway.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
So I thought, and also, if I get the standard edition, it gives me, a bit more money to play with if I want to buy something else, that kind of thing. So, because there's a bunch of other stuff coming out right now, there's going to be Fallout 76 and there's Battlefield 5. I don't know whether I'm going to get those or not, but but yeah, I bought the standard edition, and so what I started playing though was sniper mode on Tuesday night, because you get the sniper mode if you pre-order, right?
Oh shit! So have I missed that?
No, I think sniper mode is still in Hitman 2. It's just you've got access to it.
Oh, yeah. I see.
In fact, I think you've got access to it for quite a while now. But the sniper mode is pretty fucking good, actually.
Yeah.
It's actually really good.
I heard that it was good, but there's only one mission for it at the moment. They're releasing more.
Yes.
But there's only one, so it gets a little bit stale. Like, people are waiting for more missions, right? In the sniper mode, so I hear. But
yes. But it's a good example, I think, of an exercise in game design where a developer's been given this, or designer, I should say, been given this sort of mandate of, you can't move, you're fixed in one spot, all you can really do is point and shoot at things, make a good game out of it.
And they've managed.
To. Yeah. Okay. So essentially, what they've done is given you 3 targets, because obviously if you give you one target in a sniper mode, in a Hitman style game, that'd be pretty easy, If the target was ever exposed, just bang, that's it.
Yeah.
Done. But then you also have to kill all the bodyguards as well.
Right.
So you given now, if the guards are alerted, then the targets will try to escape, and if they escape, then you fail. But as long as you take the targets out, you can take your time with the bodyguards because they're not going to go anywhere. But you can still, it still tries to sort of have some of the classic Hitman tropes of like being a silent assassin, right? So even though you're just a sniper on the top of a mountain looking down at this mansion, you can still hide bodies essentially, because when you shoot someone, the power of the bullet pushes them backwards, and you can do things like shoot them and their body lands in a hedge, right? Or like their body lands in a swimming pool or something like that. Or you knock them off a cliff or over a wall into another lake or something like that, right? But what you can also do is it also has 2 other types of ammunition as well. You've got the normal ammunition for killing people with, that's unlimited. Then you've got what they call shockwave ammo, which applies a force outwards from the point at which you, like a radial force outwards from the point at which it hits. And then you've got wall-piercing ammo for obviously shooting targets through walls. Yeah. And you've still got the instinct mode, so you can see through walls and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So what you can do is you can also distract guards with just shooting somewhere near them, and they go, oh, what the hell's that? And walk over to it. So you could shoot a point, say, near a swimming pool. They'll go over and investigate it, then shoot them, kill them, they drop into the swimming pool.
That's amazing.
But what you can also do is,
design.
and something I didn't realize until I watched a YouTuber, was because sometimes they're not at the right angle for me to get them. They're not sort of the point I want them to push them towards is not behind them. Maybe it's in front of them or to the side. So, but what you can do is shoot a point, let's say near a cliff. The guard will go over to investigate it, switch to shockwave ammo, shoot a point just behind him, and the force of the shockwave ammo pushes him off the cliff.
That's awesome.
Which is like super cool stuff like that. And then you've also got all the stuff like you mentioned earlier about the water and electrocution and stuff like that. So you can shoot out a garden sprinkler, and then there's a light nearby. They'll go over to investigate the garden sprinkler going off, and then shoot the light nearby, and that'll cause them to be electrocuted.
Wow.
Like next to us.
So I guess my question is like, how many options are there per? Because like obviously
the challenges and things like that, the assassination challenges.
Yeah. Because like obviously you're talking about. It sounds like you say, they've incorporated a lot of the Hitman like elements into this sniper mode, but surely because you're not moving and because there are less moving parts, you've got less options to kill each target.
Yeah, it is more cut down in terms of like challenges and that kind of thing. But they still managed to pack in quite a few.
More than you'd expect.
Yeah, more than you'd expect from a sniper mode. There's things like shooting out a speaker, for example, that lands on the target's head. There's a challenge for taking out all 3 targets with a chandelier. So you have 15 minutes from the start. That's another thing, is that there's a time limit. It's a wedding. The premise is that it's a wedding at this huge, lush mansion, and you're sat on a mountain, and in front of you is most of the front wedding grounds, so the gardens, the helicopter pad, and at the back is the mansion itself. And at some point, obviously, during those 15 minutes, the 3 targets will converge under a chandelier, and then you can kill them that way, or you try them, lure them to that way. I've done a couple of the challenges, but not. Obviously not all of them.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm worried about falling down that rabbit hole, to be honest.
All of the upgrades as well are just for your sniper rifle. So when you get the mastery, when you upgrade your mastery, every time you do a mission, you get a score and it unlocks a certain level of mastery, and the mastery unlocks new items, like in Hitman 2016. So you unlock new pistols and new weapons, that kind of thing, or new equipment. But it's for the sniper mode, it's all for the sniper. So it's things like extended magazine, more shockwave ammo, for example.
Wow, so replay value as well.
Yeah, reload speed, fire rate, that kind of thing. Just makes things easier, and makes things easier for the challenges. The one thing I will say about it, though, is it's slightly difficult on the control side in that I don't know whether this is true, but I think there isn't an option for toggle scope, but I might be wrong on that one. But I was holding scope with right button, but then I'm zooming with the mouse wheel, and once or twice I accidentally hit the left mouse button while zooming in the scope, and because it's a Hitman game, accidentally shoot a bodyguard and everyone goes crazy, and it's like, oh shit, right, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I play it with controller, because of my console lineage, I guess. So it probably won't be much of a problem for me, because it'll probably be fine.
And I actually used an alternative keyboard button, page up and page down, to zoom in, which made it easier anyway. So that was fine. Interestingly, though, there's also a challenge that's almost like for a fail state. So the challenge is to kill all 3 targets while they're escaping, which means you have to put yourself in a fail state first.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah.
So to get them escaping, and it's quite difficult because the sniper is realistic up to a point, I suppose. They've implemented certain realistic ballistics.
It does have like a parabolic arc.
It doesn't have a parabolic arc, but it does have time to hit, right? So bullet time to hit. So,
right, yeah.
So they simulate bullet speed, which I think is really good. Because I don't know anything about real sniper bullets, how they work, or what distances and that kind of thing. Like whether that distance that he is from the mansion would have much of a bullet drop, even if it does, I don't know. But it means that there is this sort of little delay, especially the real faraway targets, before you hit the target, which means that you really have to be hitting targets when they're still, and it's even more difficult when they're running sort of perpendicular to you.
Yeah, you got to
and
lead
they're
the
running
target.
away, and you have to really fucking lead the target.
Yeah.
Like it's like on the edge of those notches on your scope when they're sort of even halfway back at the mansion. But it's fucking cool when you do it.
Yeah, really
like
satisfying
when you pull it off.
Yeah.
There's also a challenge which I've managed to complete, which is kill all targets, including the bodyguards, with just headshots. And
Whoa.
I did it with them all standing still because I managed to take out 2 of the main targets just quickly when they're standing still. One of them was a hidden kill anyway, so it was fine. The rest of the bodyguards are fine. You just wait until they're stood still and you can do it then.
Yeah.
But I imagine trying to do that while a target's running sideways, trying to do a headshot, will be crazy. So, but that stuff's like really, really cool. And I imagine we'll see YouTubers and people like that who've done amazing headshots of moving targets on that kind of mode. That kind of thing. Pretty cool. It did bug out for me once though, when I was trying the headshot challenge. Killed all the targets, killed most of the bodyguards apart from 2. And I used instinct. There was one up at the back of the mansion behind a wall somewhere. There's another one on the other side. And then the one on the left just disappeared. I don't know where he went, whether it was just bugged out or whether he just fell off a balcony or something. But it meant that I couldn't kill all the targets with headshots. But the mission completed after I killed the other guy, so that's a bit weird. So
he must have accidentally died in some capacity.
Yeah, maybe something like that. But the main game, which is really what I probably should be talking about, is pretty good. It follows on from the story. I'd forgotten about the story in Hitman 2016.
Honestly, right, let's take a second here to talk about the Hitman, because I think it might be like a bit of a convoluted mess, the story in general.
Well, I never really paid a lot of attention to it, and I wasn't really...
This is why I say I think it might be, because really, for me, more so because I'm normally all about the story, but it always comes secondary to me with Hitman. It's like I care about the gameplay and the level structure. Really, I don't really care why you're there. Like, I actually almost feel like most fans would just prefer it if it was just a separate adventure every chapter that just occasionally overlapped, but like trying to tie it all together. It feels like they're like, oh, I've got this great idea for a mission in Paris and a great idea for one in Marrakesh and a great idea for... And then they're like, okay, how do we tie this together with one story? Whereas I think players wouldn't care if there was just like, we've got a target for you in Tokyo, or we've got a target, I don't think...
Yeah, and I think that's what... Yeah, I don't think that... That's how I viewed it anyway, Hitman 2016. That was kind of like, oh, that's cool. There's a new target somewhere else, and it's a different location, it's a different setup and everything else. And there is a backstory that tied into that, but I didn't really pay it much attention. And because I completed Hitman 2016 quite a while ago now, I'd almost forgotten about it. I actually had to look up the Wikipedia article for Hitman 2016, the plot last night to remind myself, even though I've been playing Hitman 2 and it's continuing the story, because I had to remind myself exactly what sort of happened in that main game.
Because I haven't been paying too much attention to the story, am I right in thinking that they are chronological in the sense that Hitman 2016 is a sequel to Hitman Absolution? It's not a complete reboot. It's just like a soft reboot, right?
I think so, yes. I don't even think it's a reboot.
So everything that happens in those games before Hitman 2016 still happened, right?
Yeah.
Or is this a prequel? I don't even know.
I think so. Because there's the whole stuff with Diana in Absolution, though, isn't there?
And she's still a feature, so...
Yeah, honestly... I'm not sure on that one. I'm not really sure.
Two big Hitman fans here. No fucking idea what's going on.
Yeah, but it's like, again, it's like, I care just about the mechanics, so I'm not really bothered about...
And the interesting locations and things like that, right? So.
I mean, it has some weight to it, I suppose. The narrative has something... It has some... you need something in there anyway to have some sense of familiarity or some sense of reason... why you're there and a reason for doing these things, but I don't pay it too much heed. I often actually just look at that game as a series of freelance contracts,
which is what it should be.
Which
even
is what
narratively, I think that's what it should be. I think it should be just. I mean, you can overlap them occasionally, or remember that guy you killed. Well, this is his brother or his sister, or you pissed this guy off. 3 missions back, so this is what's happening. But like, I don't know, to have this overarching story with these shadowy organisations that
I think,
you know, and let's be honest, Agent 47 is a cool protagonist, but he's not particularly much of a character, is he?
No, but I mean,
he's a bizarre mix of blank slate and extremely recognisable. You know what I mean? Like,
which is not great for a hitman.
No, because he's got like no discernible. He hasn't got much personality, right? Or charisma.
He's a sociopath, right? Yeah,
and he's got not much charisma, and he can. That means his persona can blend into situations quite easily. However, he's like a 6'4" bald guy with a fucking barcode on the back of his. And I know everyone makes a point of that. Yeah. So, but it's kind of emblematic of the serious melodrama mixed with the mild ridiculousness that's laced through all Hitman games.
And that's also become part of what become part of what a Hitman is.
Yeah, right? Exactly. So it's almost a reflection of the tone of the game. Yeah. So like you can shoot someone in the head perfectly from distance so no one sees and be out of there before they even find the body, which is a very serious way of taking out a target, but you can drop a toilet on someone's head. Yeah. Or exploding golf ball or whatever. So like,
I feel like that, and this is something that we'll probably come to later in the podcast, is the Command & Conquer series is sort of, we're almost down that path because they self-referential became like Red Alert 3, it just became ridiculous, sort of, and they're just taking the piss out of themselves.
Now, I could be making this up, but didn't a Command & Conquer game have Ric Flair, the WWE wrestler, as one of its DLCs, like a Ric Flair campaign where he was playing
like the Commando?
Like, yeah, it was like DLC for one of the Command & Conquers. I don't remember which one. We should look at Command & Conquer Ric Flair. Yeah, Flair, not Rick Astley.
Is it like that? F-L-A-R-E?
No, but it's, Command & Conquer 3 Uprising. There you go. Red Alert 3 Uprising. Ric Flair
attacked by bear.
Yeah, I don't know, but there you go. Look, Ric Flair was in Command & Conquer 3. I knew it. I absolutely knew it. So, like, I remember seeing this and being like, what the fuck is Ric Flair doing in this?
I never pay much attention to wrestling and stuff, but that's because it's a Russian bear.
Sorry, we should really include the link to this video in the podcast.
We will get to talk about Command & Conquer later as well because some big news about it.
I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't going mad. But like, I remember being on like the Xbox dashboard or something, and it being like new update for Command & Conquer, and then a picture of Ric Flair like pointing at the camera and being like, what the fuck? What's happened to this franchise? Why is like a WWE Hall of Famer in?
Exactly what should have happened to that franchise.
So fucking weird. Just so weird.
They got everybody in that franchise anyway. Like by Red Alert 3, it was like everybody who was everybody almost.
Wasn't Michael Ironside in one of them?
Yeah, I think so.
I think he's in Tiberian Wars, Tiberian Sun.
Yeah, something like that.
You know the one before Red Alert 3?
One of those. Yeah,
the console one they did before Red Alert 3.
Didn't they have? I was going to say Christopher Plummer. That's not right. It's.
Christopher Plummer.
Well, he was in Skyrim. I mean, like,
yeah, that's true.
I mean, I don't know whether I can't remember who else. There was loads and loads of people.
So was actually
Michael Biehn was always in it.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously in Oblivion you have Patrick Stewart and Sean Bean, who
is Elusive Target in
number 1 in Hitman. So all roads lead to Sean Bean.
4 or 5 days until Sean Bean hits Hitman 2 as an Elusive Target.
So let's just explain a little bit. 1 for the audience, but 2 for me, because I've missed all the elusive targets now with 2016. What is an elusive target while we're on Hitman?
Elusive target is a target that is only present for around about, I can't remember how long they leave them there. Maybe it's 2 weeks, maybe it's a month, I'm not sure. As it might be, the elusive targets might be once every 2 months. So it's a certain amount of time anyway, and you have 1 shot at killing them.
So if you fuck it up,
you're fucked. You can't
save mid-mission or anything?
Good question. I can't remember. You might be able to save, actually.
So like
you might not be able to.
That's clever because like it could become a shit show where you're just murdering everyone trying to hit the target.
Yeah.
Like because you only have this 1 shot, right?
I managed it on Gary Busey. I managed to kill Gary Busey.
Gary Busey.
But this is the thing. This is what it's great. It's great as a supplementary game mode because what it means is that IO Interactive can give you the emotion and the tension of this idea of a real hit, like the sort of it's like the permadeath idea,
right? Yeah,
where you've got one shot at this, and if you fuck it up, that's it, it's gone, right? But while still giving you all of the base mechanics of the main game as well, by adding it as a separate game mode, you can still have that sort of experience of the tension of I have to do this right.
And also it's clever because there can be there's flair in the no pun intended.
Not Ric Flair.
Not Ric
Killing
Flair.
Ric Flair, that'd be amazing.
You know what? Give it time.
Yeah,
Ric Flair, elusive target. But that's what I mean. You can have elusive targets that are have interesting things about them, like Sean Bean, right?
Sean Bean.
That's an interesting idea to have.
Perfect.
Sean, or Gary. What the fuck is Gary Busey doing in a Hitman game? What's Gary Busey doing? In general, what's
full stop?
What's he been doing for about 25 years? But other than being mental, but amazing idea to have Gary Busey in there.
He was maybe probably the most prominent celebrity in the elusive targets, but then some of the others at elusive targets are just random NPCs that tie into the game.
Discernible personalities.
Yeah, and they tie, actually some of them tie into the story and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, somehow. The thing about...
They did a Mario and Luigi one for Sapienza. Didn't know whether you saw that.
No, that sounds hilarious.
The two engineers, I think they're engineers, and one's in a red overalls and the other one's in green.
That's amazing. The thing is, with Hitman 2, right?
Sorry, that wasn't an elusive target. That was an extra. It was one of the extra additional missions, I think you get.
Oh, well, after beating the mission once, you get So, with Hitman 2, right, you can probably attest to this more because I haven't bought it yet, but it looks to me like initially they were planning it as episodic again. That ties into the idea that they haven't put a platinum trophy on it.
Oh, really?
So that says to me that it wasn't designed to be released as one thing. That was what happened after Warner Brothers came in as its publisher and took over publishing. But it feels to me like they got Warner Brothers money. So, leading with Sean Bean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who's next?
Yeah, I mean, he's in all the promotional stuff. He's in
loads of promotions. Yeah. Interviews with him all over the place.
It's not just the elusive target in advert. It's him in all of the other trailers.
Yeah, everywhere. Yeah. They're leading with they're leading with a strong elusive target there. And I just wonder whether, because it's Warner Brothers, who else we might see.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, actually.
We're going to get more... I'd love it. Who else do you think would be... It can't be like a huge AAA star. It has to be it's very specific,
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You know?
Oh, God, I don't know. Answers on a postcard.
Yeah, I don't know. Who would you
most like to kill?
To have as an elusive target? I like the idea of it being Gary Busey's hilarious. Somebody I don't know, I can see somebody Danny Glover or Charlie Sheen.
Oh, God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or someone from the 80s who's kind of obscured a little bit more now.
Emilio Estevez.
Yeah, any of the Sheen family, right? Charlie Sheen, Martin Sheen, Emilio Estevez.
One of the Baldwins.
All of the Baldwins.
Oh,
that's a fucking great idea. And you have to kill Alec last because he's the strongest.
Yeah.
You start off with
you bomb the house like in South Park.
You start off with Stephen and Billy Baldwin.
Oh, God.
You start off there and then you slowly work your way up to Alec.
I'd have to be maybe one of the big stars like Chuck Norris, Steven Seagal, one of the action stars. Van Damme, maybe.
Van Damme in a Belgium stage.
Uh-huh.
That'd be great. Oh man, I don't think I could kill Van Damme.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah,
I don't think I could pull the trigger.
Yeah.
I mean, we all know that.
That's a good point.
We all know that Sean Bean is destined to die in pretty much everything. So, spoilers for pretty much everything Sean Bean's ever been in. Which is what makes him perfect, I guess.
I'm looking forward to that target, though. I'm actually sort of I'm in training. for Sean Bean right now, right? I'm in training for Sean Bean.
I'm
thinking
coming.
I have to play Hitman 2, even though I obviously play Hitman 2
do it
partly because I want to and also for the podcast. But yeah, I want to get through a lot of the.
So do they
content.
put them in? They put them in established levels, right? So do we know which stage?
Ooh, I don't know.
He's coming into.
Good point. I'm not sure because, especially because it's not episodic, it could be in any of them, right? I don't think he's going to be in.
I feel like it'll be the first stage.
It may well be, yeah. I don't think he's going to be in Colombia, which is the second one. I don't think.
What's the first stage?
First stage is Miami, the racetrack.
Oh,
but the main first stage. There's actually a prologue mission, which is in New Zealand in a sort of beach house in the middle of nowhere.
You can actually play that prologue for free on Steam and on PS4. I don't know about Xbox.
I don't actually know.
So you can download the prologue for free for Steam.
No.
So I saw last night.
Oh, okay.
Which is cool. Yeah. But yeah, my guess is it would be Miami. Miami's actually been the most heavily advertised level as well.
Uh-huh.
You know, I mean, like all the ad campaigns have been about
it's all
Miami,
about. Yeah, I just finished Miami last night because I wanted to get through it because I actually haven't had a massive amount of time. Tuesday night was spent on sniper mode, and then was that Tuesday night?
And last night was on Miami, right? Because that was Wednesday.
Last night was on Miami, but that doesn't make sense because I played a little bit of Miami before then as well. Surely, I can't remember. I played it in the morning. I don't know. I can't even remember. Anyway, I played it in over 2 sessions, and I got the flamingo assassination thing. I don't know if you've seen that.
No. I've been keeping away from a lot of the because I just want to play
it's not. I mean, it's not too much of a spoiler,
no spoiler
because it's like it's been all over the adverts and stuff like that. But there's a guy dressed as a mascot, like flamingo mascot.
Wow!
And it's basically just fucking great because it's 47. Dressed in a huge flamingo, and he gets so much shit from people when he walks around in that flamingo. And they're like, "Oh my god, a grown man wearing that outfit! How could you do it?" And even when like you go and meet Sierra Knox, who's one of the assassins, the targets for assassination, because you've got this incriminating evidence about her, because there's a whole thing about like knocking out the guy in the flamingo, getting some incriminating evidence from a journalist, going to see Sierra Knox about these incriminating evidence, and you sit down with a bodyguard while you're waiting for Sierra Knox to arrive, and he's just being all really fucking snarky about the fact that you're wearing this flamingo outfit. And he's like, "Yeah, you into that? Friend of mine's into all of that cosplay stuff."
Like it's cool because it's a newer system, so they can add more stuff like that. But like, it reminds me of what's it called? What's the mission called in Blood Money where it's at Mardi Gras?
Oh,
or like a Mardi Gras type, and is it Murder of Crows? That's
maybe
what it's called. And you have to dress up as that fucking crow. You've got 3 targets, and they're all dressed up as crows, but you don't know which crows they are originally.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
And to get access, you have to dress up as a big fucking crow. And you're walking around like a fucking dick, dressed as this giant green crow mascot. Reminds me of that. But it's amazing that you can get the kill dressed like that, and that they've angled a lot of the dialogue and stuff.
Yeah, this comes back to the sort of ridiculous nature of
and
the sort of very tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I mean, like you can even see that in 2016. I mean, like walking the catwalk was fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
As 47, you know, you have to go and get your makeup done in Paris, and then like he walks and then he does a little pose at the end. And then he walks back.
And it makes it even better because he's just a sociopath, right?
Yeah. And like, it's also funny because he looks just like the model. And people, when you walk past people, they're like, "Wow, look at his strong jaw." They say shit like that.
I remember that.
Like they say like weird shit to you, or like about your modeling career. Like, I wish I could look like that guy. Like they say shit like that.
So it is superb. I think it's.
I mean, the mere notion that these people know this model and they don't even know, before you've got your makeup on, they're like, "Hi, Mr. Kruger."
Yeah.
They just think you're him. Like, it's just the whole thing's just ridiculous, right?
He's a chameleon.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
So I'm looking forward to playing Miami again, but I'll probably, like you did with 2016, I'll probably just go straight through each mission. Colombia's the next one, which is a sort of homage to the first Hitman Codename 47, the Jungle mission in that. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to that because I've been watching Narcos.
Oh yeah,
and we're sort of halfway through the second season. So
it's supposed to be good. I haven't got to it yet. It's supposed to be
good. It's really, really good. So yeah, I think Hitman is really good.
More the same, but slightly tweaked.
It is more of the same, but slightly tweaked. Yeah, and that's not a problem at all. Oh, by the way, it looks fucking amazing.
I mean, the first one looks great
because this is.
Oh, okay. So for those I'm looking at a screenshot right now, and it looks fucking insane. I'm assuming that's sniper.
This is a sniper mode. Yeah.
Oh man, that looks beautiful.
I seen shots like this, and they were sort of what I thought were mostly map painting concept art, and then it's just the camera moves around. You're like, oh yeah, that's.
Oh, I love it when that happens. That's only happened to me a couple of times where you're like, oh, this is rendered, and then you move, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
My favorite example of that was one of my favorite games of all time, which is the Resident Evil remake on the GameCube, which they released in HD on PC and console, because that game was on GameCube originally, and it has 2D backgrounds.
Okay.
3D character models, but because that's 2D backgrounds, they're so well painted, so well done.
Yeah.
But also they don't hog a lot of resource, so there's a lot of sort of resource being spent on the character model.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite examples of
and it blends well enough, because obviously there's a problem when you blend.
Yeah, it's not like a Stark, it's not like Final Fantasy VII
and everything, and
it's not like Final Fantasy VII, which again one of my favorite games of all time, Final Fantasy VII. But obviously the 3D character models are starkly different from the background in that game. But I mean, at the era of the time, right? But the way they blend, I thought, I was like, has my game crashed? Is this cutscene not animating? Is this FMV not animating? And then I moved, and Jill moved, and I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? And it only happened, obviously now, with games getting better and better, it only happens very occasionally now. But, judging by those screenshots, it looks fucking awesome. I mean, I guess, it depends on your PC rig. It definitely won't look that good on console. Obviously.
No.
But I'm impressed with how 2016 looks on PC.
Yeah. And also, Hitman 2 uses the same system requirements as 2016, but they've managed to push more out of their engine.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive.
Got that Warner Brothers money.
Yeah.
I like to think
hired those hardcore graphics coders.
I like to think that Sean Bean did all the extra engine work as part of his contract,
and then was killed off at the end.
Yeah. I like to think that he's down as an elusive target, but really he's the only designer that works on the whole project. You beat the game and every credit's just Sean Bean. That'd be fucking awesome.
No, it's really good. The end, like the original, there are many ways to kill a target, and they're hinted at in the challenges as well. But what I like about Hitman 2 is there are, as far as I know, there are still other ways of killing the target. They're sort of outside of the challenges, which I like, because I find that looking at the challenges, you're like, oh, well, this is while there are many ways of killing the target, these are the set ways of killing the target.
Oh, yeah, I like it, right? So because that's why the first time through, I don't even pay attention to the challenges.
Yeah.
And I just do it the way that I figure out, that I find. And that means that it can be ways the games have designed, or it can be just a random way that happens. But I actually because whenever I look at the challenges afterwards, I'm like, what? You can kill him, what? What? Yeah. How do you do that? Like the fireworks. So with the fireworks, what I understand is you have to get the sniper rifle dropped off in a shed.
Yeah, I think you do. Yeah.
So I'm trying to get to the fucking shed without being seen.
Yeah.
But that's tough enough.
You've got to get to the shed and then up on the.
But yeah, I don't know where. I don't know
the back and up on the.
So and I don't know where the fireworks are, and then there's another challenge for killing both targets with a sniper rifle in quick succession,
which is pretty much the same thing, I think.
Yes, you can do several challenges at once.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But yeah, I really like that you can be like, well, now I have to work out how that's done.
What I do like is, it's very difficult design, but what I do like is that people have. I saw a YouTuber who'd managed to assassinate Sierra, not because she's driving a race car around the first half of that chapter. driving a race car around the track, and he threw an explosive onto the track and detonated it at the right point. And I don't think that's a challenge, but he managed to do it.
But it killed
her.
So
stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw someone snipe her.
Like emergent gameplay.
Which is fucking mental, sniping her as she's
that is actually a challenge.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I mean, and also it's testament to the design that I haven't seen anyone use any really... Because if the game was worse designed, then there might be cheap ways to do every mission. You know, like little exploits or... And I'm sure there are, but I haven't seen anyone, you know...
There's certain things about it that you sort of... I don't know, you take for granted in a way where you can see the cracks in the design. For example, the way I killed the other target, which is her father, was in a car accident explosion. It's like a test car, and you fiddle with the engine at the back, and you pour some like octane fuel in the back. And when he's looking at it, and you sit in the car, he says, "Oh, hey, come up! You disguise yourself an engineer." He says, "Go and start the car up."
Yeah,
produce an explosion. But there's two stages to it. One is like use your screwdriver to sabotage the car, and then pour the octane fuel in. Now, I just did the first bit because he just said sabotage the car, and then he came down. And he's looking at the car, and I didn't realize also I had to get in, and I was in the wrong suit and everything like that. So I had to redo that section a few times, which is sabotage the car. Now, every time you do that, it replays the same scene over and over again.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it would be incredibly difficult,
almost impossible
to make a new scenario out of that.
It's
and
like,
you take it for granted that's just the way it works.
It's not 100% realistic that a lot of the time your targets follow the same routine over and over again as well. Things like that. They walk in a particular pattern.
A particular pattern
until you disrupt it. So.
Or you trigger a new state, right?
So it's a balance. It's that balance of realism versus game.
Yeah.
You know, like if it was too realistic, it would be frustrating.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's the little things, like I was playing Paris again, and like, you know, in Paris at the start, you start outside the massive manor, and there's a reporter talking, and if you walk in between the camera and the reporter, she stops and she's like, "Thanks a lot for ruining our shot. Now we've got to settle." Like, there's no need for that to happen. Yeah. Like, there's no need for it at all. But if you walk in between, they'll start moaning at you, just because you fucked their shot up, and it doesn't pertain to anything in the mission, from what I can understand.
So
it's just like little things like that. Just don't need to do.
Yeah. That kind of stuff is, really cool. Like, and I felt Hitman 2 is more of the same, if not more as well. Some of the crowds are kind of really, you know, you can hear the same conversations going on, looping again. But again, it's like, there's how far can you go with that stuff? Like, and keep it. They've made it as systemic as a modern game can possibly be, without going mental, without either, like you said, being too so realistic that the sort of the, I don't know, the chances, the probability of certain things happening are too wild for you to deduce.
It's that balance.
So I think it's perfectly balanced in that sense. It is really good. I'm looking forward to playing more of it. We should probably move on to a bit more of what else I've been playing, because I did want to talk about a couple of other things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're filling in the... I've been lackluster when it comes to playing.
Yeah, I think because I'll play more of Hitman 2 and then this week, and then we'll have a lot more to say about it, I think, later on. So the centenary was on Sunday.
Yeah.
Of the Remembrance of World War One, which was on a Sunday as well. Like, you know, normally, which is crazy because, you know, Remembrance Sunday is always like the closest Sunday to the 11th of November. But the 11th of November was on the Sunday.
Yeah. And it was 100 years.
100 years, which is crazy. So we watched it on TV. At least the first part of it, not so much the parade stuff. And it's all very sort of moving, and you see all these people's stories and stuff like that. And it got me thinking about games in World War One, especially. My first thought was, is it disrespectful to now start playing Battlefield 1?
No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe, well, It can't be as disrespect. You remember the memes, that whole scandal?
Battlefield 1, no, not the meme. No,
the Battlefield 1 community team were tweeting out like when you're too hot for the club as a meme, and then someone getting burnt with a flamethrower in Battlefield 1 in World War 1. It was just really and there was huge complaints, and they had to delete the tweet and stuff when Battlefield 1 launched.
That's what DICE put out.
Yeah. Because basically, it was like a mismanagement of marketing for a game like that. You got to be careful, right?
It's also kind of too soon, even though it's been 100 years. It's too soon for it. Can you imagine if it was the Napoleonic Wars?
I
think they'd probably get away with that.
Well, also, I think that the Napoleonic Wars.
Obviously, they didn't have flamethrowers for a start.
That joke wouldn't work.
Yeah.
No, but also, I think as well, it's more It's more insulting to people whose country was affected, or you know what I mean. So, with the Napoleonic Wars, I think people feel far removed from it now. Whereas,
exactly,
the First World War, and the Second World War. They're called a World War, the Great War, right? It was on an unprecedented scale. So, and like you say, only 100 years ago, which is not. And I mean, I don't really know what they were thinking with that, to be honest.
I don't know.
I don't think it's offensive to play Battlefield 1. I think Battlefield 1 does a pretty good job for the most part, in game, of being respectful to.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, the one thing that I did play, I played some of the campaign, partly because I think Battlefield 1 is first and foremost a Battlefield game. It's not meant to be a history lesson, really. And at least I hope that's not what the developers are thinking. I know they're obviously thinking along some of those lines when they think about the best way to depict World War One, but for me, it is first and foremost a Battlefield game, and I'm well aware of that fact.
Yes,
I'm well aware that it is a video game. It's not meant to be,
and it's not like, it's not like we're getting the veterans round to play it.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
don't. It's not meant for.
There's so many things that are inaccurate as well in general. Mostly the weapons and the things like using reflector sights and that kind of thing, and on hip firing Lewis guns and that kind of stuff.
Well, that hilarious tiny gun. You see that in Battlefield 1? You can unlock the smallest.
Oh, really?
It's like a tiny little double barrel thing. It's like the size of a Zippo lighter.
Huh.
Watch someone playing every level with it. It's fucking hilarious. These huge war zones, and it's got this tiny little gun.
And obviously, I haven't seen that, but obviously, the whole setup of a Battlefield game, right? The idea of capturing control points and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But what it does do, it probably does better than any other maybe World War One themed game, is that sense of intensity and that the visuals and graphically it looks incredible. It's got
This is the thing, right? So I like the vignette style of the narrative, the single player, even though it's a bit short. I like the little vignettes. But I think people stayed away from World War One in games for a long time because it's hard to make an interesting, pleasant to play but not pleasant to experience sort of thing. World War One game, because it was a very, very messy conflict which had a lot of stalls and waiting.
It's a lot of trench warfare from the Western Front side,
and people just getting instantly massacred.
Compared to the Second World War, which is more recent, more recognisable,
more strategic.
Also, lots of different types of technology being used.
Yeah,
and that kind of thing.
There's things like it's easier to make a shooter about the D-Day landings, or even the paratroopers in the Second World War, than it is a trench-based.
Yeah.
Because really, with trenches, they were waiting or they were getting killed.
Yeah.
Essentially,
running across a big field to get killed.
Running at the enemy. So it's difficult to make a game that's... And also, because so many people died... so many people died in both. But because of the manner in which so many people died in the First World War, it's difficult to kind of, because you want to tap into, be respectful, but also tap into to remind people about that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Without it being trashy.
Yeah.
Without it being, popcorn
danger.
Gaming, right?
That's the danger, I think. And that's where it got me thinking a lot about this kind of stuff in games just recently. I mean, it's always been on the table, these ideas in, I think, video games ever since, probably really since video games have existed. People have attempted it, some better than others, I think. But like I said, I'm aware that it's a video game. I think most people are. So I played a bit of it, and to be honest, the campaign I played wasn't that bothered about it. There's a lot of like stealth sections and tank driving, which I don't know, didn't really. I like stealth, but for a World War I game,
feels weird in Battlefield.
Yeah, Battlefield and World War I. I was like, I don't know. So what I did do was I had a look at a bunch of other World War I games, and there are a few that I've played before, like Verdun, which is a multiplayer-based thing. They've just released Tannenberg, which is same company, which is more the Eastern Front.
They also released one as well. A new World War I game came out that I can't remember.
There's the 11 Memories Retold, which is the Aardman Studios.
Maybe I'm thinking of that. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's supposed to be a really good story-based thing. But the one game I did start playing, which is really good and probably much... I don't want to say better game. I don't want to say more respectful. I don't really want to say more, I don't know, certainly more informative, is Valiant Hearts, which is...
Oh, so...
the Ubisoft Montpellier collection.
I bought Valiant Hearts on launch, and I never got to it, because... I will go back to it, but I just haven't got to it yet. But I think the nature of the type of game that is allows it to sort of play... on the sort of headier themes of the First World War.
Yeah.
You know? Do you know what I mean? Because it's more of a slow, character-driven...
It's also its genre is such that it allows for more of that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's funny because in some ways Valiant Hearts is, much more ridiculous and silly than something like Battlefield 1, but it knows it knows it is, right? It's aware of its silliness, I suppose.
Yeah.
But in a lot of other ways, it's much more informative and much more about something different. It's about it's mostly about people trying to escape from World War I, to be honest.
Yeah.
Most of what it's about. It's a side-scrolling adventure game is probably the best way I could describe it. It seems to cross a few genres, really. In some ways, it also almost reminds me of Castle Crashers, which is weird.
It's the art style, I think.
It's the art style. It's got a sort of hand-drawn art style. You're constantly, usually in the game, you're constantly moving from left to right, side-scrolling, basically. And it has... various points where it's just puzzles.
Yeah.
Puzzles mixed with also some, action sequences where you've got to dodge artillery fire and that kind of thing. Its art style is cartoony, but it's more about what makes it effective, I think, as a World War I game is its story and also the little pieces of information that it gives you throughout throughout the gameplay. So it gives you a bunch of facts, for example, like real world facts about the point in the war you're in. And it also covers a lot more aspects of the Great War than I think something like Battlefield 1 has ever done.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that Battlefield 1 covers stuff like, Lawrence of Arabia, and it covers, air power, and it also covers tank battles. Valiant Hearts, I mean, I've only played maybe an hour of it, but we've got to the reasons for the start of the war, we've got the way people were signed up for the war, we've had the EAP, we've had the tunnels, we've had, prisoners of war, it's
interesting because the other reason I think that the Second World War is a more marketable war for popular culture. Do you know what I mean? More movies are made about it, more games are made about it. I think it's because it's easier to understand on a base level. Like, who versus who, why?
Yeah.
Like, on a really top level, that's why.
And it's much more of an ideological war than the First World War.
But the First World War, the minutiae and the intricacies of everything that happened to lead up to war is extremely complex and in-depth.
Yeah, the system of military alliances.
That all kind of came together. And then, and I mean, people often... try and simplify it by sort of saying, Franz Ferdinand being shot is the start of the war. But that's like a
simplified version,
a very base level understanding. So if you look at, there's more of that stuff to dig into in the First World War than the Second, I think. So that probably is another reason why, because it's more complicated and more difficult to understand, that makes it less likely to be turned into something for mass market consumption.
Yeah.
But it seems to me that Valiant Hearts is kind of leaning into that, and kind of going through a lot of that.
And it's a lot of the ways just the genre, right? I think the genre of the game, the gameplay itself, which the gameplay actually, and it's funny because the gameplay, the gameplay itself actually is quite far removed from what people would have actually done in World War One, to the point of silliness sometimes. But I would say it is. If you want an educational game about Valiant Hearts without it being a sort of, edutainment title, like specifically marketed as educational, Valiant Hearts at the moment looks like your best bet. If you want to learn about World War One, I think the game at the moment, the one that I've seen so far, is Valiant Hearts, because it does teach you a lot about just what went on, really. And also the game itself includes these characters from most of the sides of the war, most of the experience of the war. You've got, it starts off with a German working on a French farm, and Germans were asked to leave to go back to Germany, and he has a wife and a son, and they also live with his wife's father, who's a farmer there. He gets sent back to Germany, obviously gets deployed during the war. Her father also gets deployed into the French army.
On the French side,
French side as well. And it's about how they reconcile and meet up. And then there's another American guy, you learn about him. There's also a Belgian girl who's just turned up as a student. But then you're still learning the story of the letters that are being sent from the French girl on the farm, and she's living in Paris. And so I think they're really pushing for a very multi-sided view of World War One rather than just one, which is really cool. And it's in-house Ubisoft and published by Ubisoft. It looks like an indie title.
Yeah,
but it's interesting because
occasionally Ubisoft do this. They have I think they have people working on little side projects, like in between major projects and stuff. It seems that way because Child of Light was one of those, I think, and Grow Home.
Yeah, Grow Home, because that was Newcastle, I think.
And I think so. And I think I don't know this. This is a guess, but I feel like, they have these, little projects that they kind of say, we've got this, and they do feel indie, right?
Yeah.
Sort of like EA's indie funding stuff, except EA just pay other companies to do it.
Yeah. We do a lot of that stuff with their AAA stuff. Never mind the indie.
Yeah.
DICE and BioWare, right?
What's it called? EA's.
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like they're fucking.
Microsoft have their own. Microsoft have a whole
A Way Out game.
No.
Joseph Fiers, is that his name? Joseph Fiers, the guy who did Brothers, the game called Brothers.
I know Brothers, right?
And he did a game called A Way Out, which came out this year and was quite popular. It's about two brothers trying to break out of prison, and it's a co-op only game, couch co-op only. That was a big thing about it. Oh. And at the Game Awards last year, he made quite a famous speech where he was clearly drunk or on something, the game's director, and started saying, fuck loot boxes, fuck EA, and then he sort of backpedaled instantly because he realised that his game was being distributed through EA. So it's a really funny because he's like, fuck EA, fuck loot boxes, and then he's like, wait, let me just say EA have been very good to me. But
I totally missed this.
Fuck this loot box. Yeah, it's I think his name's Joseph Fiers, and his brother, his real-life brother, is an actor who plays one of the characters in A Way Out. And he was actually from film. He was a filmmaker, but he came over to games, and now he makes games. He's a bit like I think he's a bit kind of a rock star in the game. One of those kind of... but he now makes games that have been very successful. But his brother, who's an actor, is turned up in Westworld Season 2, weirdly. So his brother is an actual actor, and he's from film, but his brother's one of the characters in A Way Out. Huh. But yeah, anyway, EA funded A Way Out through this particular indie service they have. I don't know if it's just called EA Indie or EA. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I will have heard it, but I just didn't really.
But yeah. Check out the clip from last year's Game Awards. Like Jeff. What's his name? Jeff
Goldblum?
No, the guy who runs the Game Awards. Jeff Keighley.
Oh, Keighley.
Jeff Keighley.
Why did I say Goldblum?
I wish it was Jeff Goldblum. Perfect elusive target.
Oh, man.
If anyone from IO is listening, and Warner Brothers, get Jeff Goldblum.
Get him in the fucking wizard's outfit. What was the...
Oh, what, from Thor?
Thor, the fucking...
The Master.
Master, that's it.
Yeah. No, he should play... Man, he could play any one of his characters.
Do Jurassic
Park. Ian Malcolm or Independence Day.
Oh, man.
Or fucking Independence Day. Or...
if that happens...
The Fly.
With, like, the biggest profits...
Man, if... You know what? What would happen if, like, in 6 months, he becomes an elusive target, and we're like, that's our fucking idea. No, I mean, that's for free. You can have that for free, Warner Brothers.
Just put it out there.
Yeah, that's take it and run. What was I saying? Jeff Keighley. Yeah, in that speech, you can see he's kind of trying to stop.
Oh man,
him talking. Like it's really funny. It's a really funny clip.
Oh man.
But yeah. So anyway, other than Valiant Hearts and Hitman 2, is there anything else you've been playing?
Only really Destiny 2, which I played on Tuesday night because we have my Tuesday night gaming group. We decided to switch now. We've been playing Paladins for a while and gone to Destiny 2, which I played the tutorial of, and then we just tried to meet up and sort of failed. Didn't know what we were doing.
It is baffling if you don't.
Yeah, it takes a while to sort of level up so you can do all the 6-man raids.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Highlight level.
To do. I think we were so bad at it. I mean, like there was a guy helping us on my stream because I was streaming it. Just random dude turned up on my stream. I was like, "Oh no, you got to do this. You do this. This is what you do for this. Unlock this."
So I mean,
oh okay, awesome, thanks.
It's weird with Destiny because with most games, generally you think that the level is the most important thing, but actually your gear level is the most important thing in Destiny by a long way.
Yeah, so your light power level.
Your light level, yeah. So actually your character's level is kind of... I don't even know why they keep it there, because it's pointless. Like, no one pays fucking attention. Everyone's just looking at the light level. Even the missions have a light level requirement, not an actual level requirement. So
I suppose it's like gear score, right, in WoW, maybe.
That's what light level is, essentially. It goes up with your gear, yeah.
It was all right though. It was like there's some satisfying gunplay in there. There's some really nice sort of headshots or things like that. Quite satisfying.
It feels nice to play.
You know, as an MMO. For an MMO, it's got some quite satisfying gunplay in there. There's like a sort of audible hiss when you get like a good critical hit or headshots and things like that, and just nice feedback.
Yeah, it's
the whole loop. You know, it's
really fun.
Nice.
It's fun to play. Definitely.
The one thing I will quickly talk about that I was playing, because I'm kind of aware that we're probably running out of time a little bit, is, before we get into the news anyway, is Rainbow. I played some Rainbow Six Siege the other day. I don't know where it was, Monday night maybe, and I hadn't played it in a while. I played it for like 6 months, and I was so bad at it that my team thought I was trolling.
Wow.
like I don't know. I didn't get a single kill. In fact, at one point, I tried to place the explosive charges that you use for breakable walls down. Ended up throwing my grenade in front of all my teammates.
Yeah. I mean,
I got so much abuse.
That game scares me now because I played it when it launched and I didn't really get into it, and I know it's evolved a lot since, and I want to get back into it. But I play Terrorist Hunt Co-op, and that's fun. But I'm scared to go online because people are serious about that game.
People are serious. People are also shitty as well.
Like, I don't know how the community is. I don't know.
Well, at least I couldn't remember from the last time I played from the community, and I know they brought in a lot of stringent rules of sort of reporting and banning and stuff like that recently, which is really good. But they're still just like shitty people who were just like that experience I had was people just being really abusive to me, and I can handle it. I don't really care, but it's more about other people.
Just a game, guys.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they said like, "Oh my god, you're so shit," and I was like, "Yes, I am."
Yeah. Well done. Well observed.
Yeah. But I probably, if I'd have been recording a clip, maybe I would have reported them actually for just shitty language and sort of just more for the sake of. I mean, it's for the sake of other people more than myself because, like I said, it wasn't too much of a problem for me, but for a lot of other people, obviously that's very bad.
Yeah, yeah.
And pretty bad behaviour, and people need to learn to not be a dick.
But people are always going to be a dick online.
People are always going to be a dick.
It's the anonymity of it. People
are
always going to be that.
Yeah. So, that's pretty much it. We should probably shift on to the news because we probably...
So, the news is a little less organised this week because of us being busy and things like that, but we'll do our best. I say we start with the Game Awards.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
So the Game Awards nominees, the Game Awards are growing every year. I think Jeff Keighley is quoted as saying he wants it to be the Oscars for gaming.
Yeah. That's cool.
Also,
we've got.
I'm pretty sure that Joseph Fares guy, I think his name's Joseph Fares, the guy I was just talking about from the way out, I'm pretty sure he said fuck the Oscars as well, live at the Game Awards. I'm pretty sure he was like, fuck the Oscars, these are better.
Because they... Okay. Right.
And then like, fuck EA. Except my game. So anyway, yes, so they're getting bigger every year, which is cool. So I guess we'll go through a couple of them. I don't know if we need to read out every nomination for every... category, but let's talk about the Game of the Year nominations, shall we? So we have Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Celeste, God of War, Spider-Man, Monster Hunter World, and Red Dead 2. So
I have played... Actually, no, I haven't played Odyssey. So I've only played 2 of those games.
And you haven't beat any of them, right?
No.
So I have beaten, I've beaten 100% Assassin's Creed, 100% is Celeste. What else we got? 100% in God of War, 100% in Spider-Man. Played a bit. So yeah, I've 100%ed all of them except Monster Hunter and Red Dead. And I fucking love Monster Hunter. So...
I need to get it now. I've got a PS4. It's one of the games I need to get, actually.
This is an interesting list.
On PC.
So... I've spoken at length about Assassin's Creed Odyssey. There's a little bit more news about Assassin's Creed Odyssey today, just a small thing I'll throw in a bit. But as you are aware and all the listeners are aware, I enjoyed it, but I've kind of voiced my issues with it. I wouldn't say it's the game of the year for me.
I was going to say, I think it's actually a bit of an odd choice to be on that list.
I think it's good.
Even though
I think it's very good, but I don't know whether it's game of the year for me. Celeste, I can't believe it's been acknowledged this highly. Not because it's bad, it's actually fucking awesome. I just thought it would be in the kind of indie categories.
Yeah.
Because it's the best. It's one of the best games I've played this year, and one of the best indie games I've ever played. But it's not like it seems weird to put it up against these other games. You know, Red Dead, Spider-Man, God of War. These are all huge exclusives, and Celeste is this little indie platformer.
Yeah.
But it's fucking awesome. It's a fucking awesome game. I mean, again, we've spoken about Spider-Man. We're continuing to talk about Red Dead. We haven't really spoken much about God of War and Monster Hunter. So Monster Hunter, bit of background for me. I've put thousands of hours into Monster Hunter in its other forms. I think I played Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate for over 1,000 hours, and Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate I'm playing now. I haven't put that much time into World. I think that it's obviously great, but I just haven't quite got round to it yet. But I will. But it's a strange thing with Monster Hunter because nobody gave a shit about, like, in terms of the wider public, nobody gave a shit about Monster Hunter apart from its hardcore fan base until Monster Hunter World. And then Monster Hunter World fucking exploded. Monster Hunter World has sold over 10 million units. And it's Capcom's highest selling game ever.
Yeah, that's insane.
Capcom's biggest selling game ever is Monster Hunter World.
I think it's interesting to point out as well that 3 of these games are PlayStation exclusives.
That is interesting.
Until Monster Hunter came out on PC, but
it's still a console exclusive,
really,
right?
Yeah. 3 out of the 6? Yeah.
Yes.
3 out of the 6 games, or 50% of those games are PlayStation exclusives.
Interesting, and not at all surprising, because I think PlayStation exclusives have been the better exclusives this year.
Yep,
it's just fact. But yeah, so I will get to Monster Hunter, but I'm glad that it's getting the recognition. It baffles me a bit. I'm a little worried that Monster Hunter World will be a little bit more casual for the hardcore Monster Hunter fan. I don't know that that's the case because I haven't put enough time into it. But my worry is that they've dumbed it down to make it more mass market, because the other Monster Hunter games, they're brilliant, but they are not, user friendly on the go, like from the go. So they're hard to get into. There is a hurdle with Monster Hunter, and once you're over that hurdle, it's the greatest thing ever. But at first, you're like, what the fuck is this? How does this work? I don't understand. It's difficult for people, I think, to understand that Monster Hunter is a game where, I don't know if this is the case for Monster Hunter World, but generally Monster Hunter is a game where you only have yourself to rely on, or your teammates. But by that I mean there's no game helping you. There's no thing helping you. There's nothing helping you in the game. So if you miss, you missed, because there's no auto lock. There's no dash around the target. There's no, focus meter. There's no slow down time and level up your soup. There's none of that shit, especially in traditional Monster Hunter. They've kind of added some stuff recently, but it's no, it's you versus the monster. You need to get better. Your character doesn't level up. You can get new gear. You can craft new gear, which obviously gives you some advantages, but it's, you've just got to get better. And it's a game that's like, you're not good enough, so you can't beat this thing. You can't beat this monster, and that's it until you're good enough. And it's a kind of very, almost like, I guess it's kind of quite Japanese in its game design.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's sort of super difficult.
Yeah. Very Twitch-based, sort of. Very much based much more on physical dexterity than...
Yes, yeah. And it's about learning the monsters, learning the way they attack, learning their tells, learning what they're doing, how to hunt them, the way they move at different damage levels, the way they move when they're angry, how to trap them, how to kill them, how to avoid certain attacks, frame perfect stuff. And that's what I love about it. And my worry is that Monster Hunter World will have diluted that a little because it's gone a bit more mass market. However, I am in no way confident in saying that because I haven't played it enough. So perhaps in the coming months I'll go back to it and then I'll report
I might
back.
pick it up myself because it's probably a lot cheaper now.
Well, I mean,
maybe.
I love Monster Hunter as a franchise. So I'm kind of glad it's getting the recognition, but it kind of baffles me a bit. Yeah. Whether it will win Game of the Year, I don't know. Probably not.
Because I've got PlayStation now, so I might pick it up. I heard there was a PC. It wasn't as good. I think.
I think that it's not amazing. I think people were wanting it to be amazingly optimized, and it's not amazingly optimized from what I heard. Whether they're
people playing it,
patching it and stuff. But it's a game that can really fuck you over if it's not running well, because you want it at 60 FPS. However, if you'd rather it at a stable 30 than fucking around with frame rate, because you will get murked so hard. Some of the creatures are just crazy. And I mean, there are 150 or something monsters in old Monster Hunter games that I know very well, but very few of them have made it into Monster Hunter World. And there's way less monsters in Monster Hunter World. There's way less monsters. It's a smaller game in terms of the amount of creatures you fight, but it's still just as long. It's hundreds of hours, 200-300 hour game. Yeah. If you want to do everything. It's ridiculous. Those games are ridiculously long. So, great. Awesome. Glad it's got nominated. The other thing is, hang on, God of War. No, I fucking loved God of War, but you haven't finished it, right? You started it, though,
No.
Did you not get into it? Are you going back to it? What's your feeling on God of War?
I don't know. Apparently there's a point...
Did you play the other God of Wars?
A little bit. Bits, yeah. I've played bits of God of War, like, over the years. I mean, they've been going for a long time, so, yeah. I played some... I think I probably played some of at least every single one of God of War, probably. But, yeah. I don't know. I think there's a point that halfway through, maybe, it really, really picks up. I don't know. Maybe it's just not my thing.
It's what it is. It's like the pinnacle of evolution for the console game. It's a really, really, really solid console experience. Yeah, it doesn't feel PC gamey at all.
At all, yeah.
And so I just wonder whether it just isn't as akin to your interest.
See, like my feeling at the moment is I want to get through God of War because I want to just say that I've finished it, because I'm actually much more excited about Horizon Zero Dawn, which I own and I want to play. Because but then I like that kind of gameplay. I think I like this sort of, stealthing around and the trap system.
They're both fucking amazing. I think I prefer God of War out of the two, but it's very close.
Yeah,
I really like.
I really do have to play it a lot more and just power through it.
Also, I can't recommend Celeste enough. You must be able to get it cheap now. Like it's. Yep. I played it on Switch.
I was going to say, is it Switch and Steam, or is it also on...
No, it's on PlayStation as well, and Xbox, I think. But I played it on...
Get it on PlayStation.
I mean, you could get it on Steam, because it's fucking...
It might be cheaper.
Yeah, you probably get it cheaper on Steam. You play it with a controller, obviously.
Yeah.
Or I would recommend so. And I played it on Switch, and I thought it was great for Switch, but... You don't have it's just a great platformer, but I cannot recommend it enough. It's one of those games that I kind of had forgotten about a little because there's been so many good games this year. But
one of the guys at work did a talk about it, and we saw a lot of previews and a lot of videos of it.
Superb,
yeah,
superb and challenging, and just more than just the gameplay being amazing and challenging. It's also it's got soul. The writing has soul.
Yeah. It's got a great backstory.
And it deals with great themes. It's a really good, solid game.
I'm conscious of that we do have limited time.
Mm-hmm. So maybe... maybe just a couple of the other... Just looking at the... So there you go, look. A Way Out been nominated for Best Game Direction. Detroit Become Human has been nominated. Best Game Direction, A Way Out, Detroit... God of War, Spider-Man, Red Dead. So we're seeing Best Narrative, Detroit, God of War, Life is Strange 2,
Episode 1.
Weird, just Episode 1.
Well, the rest aren't out yet.
Yeah. Spider-Man, Red Dead. So you can see Best Art Direction, Assassin's Creed, God of War. Oh, yeah, Octopath Traveler's been nominated. Yeah.
Return of the Obra Dinn.
So we're blowing through these a bit. It's probably a bit confusing. I'm just trying to get a kind of feel of... It seems to me that there are God of War, Red Dead, and Spider-Man are coming up in pretty much every category. Yeah. And you're seeing some Assassin's Creed peppered in as well. But yeah, I mean, I guess we could do a show based purely on the Game Awards.
On the Game Awards, yeah.
When they come to... You can vote. You vote. It's publicly voted for. Yeah. So you can vote now, but we could just...
This is for music as well. Celeste again, God of War, Spider-Man, Red Dead.
Red Dead again. So yeah. So take a look at the nominations. They're on the Game Awards site. You can vote now.
Best audio design, Black Ops 4.
But I think we should just do probably just do a show about it when they have... When is the Game Awards?
I don't know. It's going to probably be on the...
It's pretty soon, I think.
Website, yeah.
Does it say on the website? I don't know. We'll do a show on it anyway. Yeah. But yeah, check out the nominees. They're interesting, but a lot of, the usual suspects are coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Interesting, they've got awards for actors as well, individual actors, best performance as well. So Christopher Judge is Kratos.
Brian Deschamps for Detroit. Nice. Cassandra. Wow. I don't want to mess her name up. Melisanthe
Mahut.
Yep, as Cassandra for Assassin's Creed Odyssey. That is awesome because she is awesome. Red Dead. Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan in Red Dead. And Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker. Yeah, I will say the mocap stuff is amazing. And the voice performances are amazing in Spider-Man as well.
So there's 1111 Memories Retold.
1111, yeah, that was the one earlier, I was thinking of.
So I really want to play that actually as well now, because obviously it was clearly timed for release.
Yeah, it's got a really interesting art style. Check out 1111. But yeah,
stuff. That's also Into the Breach. Great that's there. And Return.
What's this category? So
indie.
So indie games, Into the Breach, Celeste, Dead Cells, Return of the Obra Dinn, and The Messenger. God, that is a strong...
There's a strong lineup.
That is a strong lineup. But again, like, Celeste is in there. Wouldn't have thought it'd have been in both categories, Interesting.
Good to see Reigns and...
this mobile game.
Yeah, Fortnite and PUBG Mobile, they're both really solid. PUBG is actually pretty astonishing for a mobile game.
But yeah, anyway, I think we should
probably
move on, because obviously you guys can't see what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
But check them out, because it's an interesting year. It's been a good year for games.
One bit of news that I did want to talk about actually, it was yesterday, 13 hours ago. Came up on PC Gamer, was Command & Conquer and Red Alert Remastered, being developed by former C&C devs.
Former C&C devs. So this is not
former Westwood guys.
So this is not licensed.
Part of,
or it is licensed.
Petroglyph, I think. Who are,
So is this licensed? Is EA allowing this, or is this just them doing it? Would be my first question, because EA could easily shut this down if not.
Yeah, no. I'm assuming it's official, because it's not a reboot. EA has reached out to us regarding Command & Conquer. Okay, it's official. Good. I just didn't know if it was just also them. Frank Klepacki is coming back to do the music. Frank Klepacki was made famous for doing many musical scores, including the famous Red Alert Hell March.
And my assumption is that he's retired and he's coming out of retirement for.
I don't know if he's retired. But,
I don't know. I'm not familiar with his work.
He's done loads of great music for these series.
So Command & Conquer is one of those games where I actually enjoyed playing it on console when it came to console, even the PS1 one, but obviously it was not a game best played on console. But because I've only become a PC gamer more recently, I'm not intimately been involved with Command & Conquer much, but my assumption is that you're a big fan.
Yep.
And have been playing them.
I bought Command & Conquer on release.
The first?
In 1995.
Was that when the first one came out? I don't even know.
Yeah.
So you can probably speak to it way more than I. But long-running RTS. What's your feeling on... I hear that Command & Conquer... I hear that Command & Conquer 4 is like a very... polarizing and divisive entry.
Oh, well, I think they all died a slow death, to be honest, really. Started dying a slow death probably around... I don't know which entry, really, but maybe after the sort of third generation of them. Because they couldn't really keep up with the changes in RTS design and RTS trends, like StarCraft did it right. StarCraft 2 made it well enough, becoming multiplayer focused. Command & Conquer was still single player focused. They still wanted to retain some of that traditional.
They randomly went to PC. They randomly went to console as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Strange.
I know. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with things like the, Command & Conquer was partly famous for its cutscenes as well. These like full motion video live action cutscenes, and I don't know what they're going to do with that. If they're going to do a sort of remaster,
going to get the Kane actor back,
or whether how they're going to handle that, or whether they're going to still go down the whole silly route of what they did in later titles like Red Alert 3, which is incredible, if only for the Tim Curry. I think it's one of the ending speeches, which is quite famous now, when he talks about going to space.
I must say...
Have you seen that?
Yes, I have. A long time ago when it came out. I must say, Tim Curry, another fine choice for an elusive target.
He is a fine choice for an elusive target. Unfortunately, he's obviously in a wheelchair and because he had a stroke, didn't he?
What, Tim Curry?
Yeah, man. He said he had a major stroke and he's been in a wheelchair for quite a while now.
You'd think that I would know that. That's terrible news.
Yeah. He's. I don't know when he had it, but I think it was a few years ago even. But so he had a major stroke and it left him paralyzed down one side. Yeah, real shame for someone like that because he's a titan of acting.
He's just a
legend. I mean, he keeps doing interviews and things like that and making people laugh and
But yeah, I think I follow him on Twitter. I had no idea that he...
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. Well, that's terrible news. But a great choice for an elusive target anyway. Would be Tim Curry, or he's just of that era.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know about the... I mean, I'm sure I'll look into these Command & Conquer remakes. It's exciting news for Command & Conquer fans, I guess. I guess my question would be, if they died out from being just aged by better or more intricate systems, does that mean that these remakes will suffer from the same problem?
Well, I think they're...
is it just going to be nostalgia?
They're aiming for a remaster, which they say is a little vague, but they want to kind of ask the community about stuff. Because balancing was a problem, I think, especially in Red Alert.
Here's a question. Do you think this is a reaction by EA to the reaction to the mobile game announcement? Or do you think this was in the pipeline before? Because
the mobile game announcement.
Because the last thing we heard from Command & Conquer was a mobile game.
I wonder if it's a reaction to...
They announced... Do you not remember this? They announced the mobile game at E3. We talked about it last week with the Diablo stuff. They announced a mobile-only Command & Conquer game at E3 last year, and it was fucking met with terrible reception. Much like Diablo's was.
Potentially, and maybe also...
I feel like it's a way of going, oh, look, we still care about Command & Conquer. Look.
Potentially, maybe it's also a reaction to things like the StarCraft being remastered and now Warcraft 3 reforged as well.
That's
Although,
true.
Obviously, it's not a reaction to Warcraft 3 reforged because it's just happened like 2 weeks ago. There's no way they would have...
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just wonder whether it's a way of kind of saying... Of kind of consoling fans because everyone was so pissed off about Command & Conquer. I don't know, just conjecture, but an interesting concept nonetheless. But yeah.
Anyway, I think
news.
Unfortunately we may have to wrap this up.
Really? That's
we're
what we at? Okay. It was always going to be shorter this week, I guess, with my lack of playing stuff. We haven't really covered all news, I guess.
Were there any bits and pieces?
The only other few things, Assassin's Creed Odyssey has got a patch coming out for all players, which increases the level cap, adds a new transmog mode and a few other things, improved photo mode. So check that out if you're an Assassin's Creed fan. Definitely. There was something else that was big news that Gosh, that's what I mean. We could have... Didn't have time to collate it. That's the problem. This week. I'm sure there was something else. Have you got anything else?
Not really.
I mean,
no, not really. There's, I'm sure next week we'll have stuff on Fallout 76, maybe.
Fallout 76 is out, and apparently it's buggy as fuck.
Yeah.
Not
a whole lot.
No, I guess it has been a slower news week. Yeah. Oh, that was it. I've remembered. THQ Nordic. I just want to speak briefly about THQ Nordic, and this is something we'll come back to because I'm sure we've spoken about them in the past. But they've bought Bugbear Entertainment and Coffee Stain Studios now, which is 2 more. And they've said they've now announced that they have 35 games in active development. Now, we spoke about them last time and said they had 18 games in development, which was more than we thought possible. for a studio like that. But now, I mean, that's insane, right? Am I losing my mind here? Like that.
That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what they're doing over there. I mean, they've got Darksiders coming out this month, which I'm interested to see. But other than that, and they've done some remasters, but I don't know where are they getting the money? How are they buying? They're not releasing any games.
No, maybe they're just, I don't know, maybe this is part of their strategy, right? It's just part of like a business strategy where they...
But like some of their business decisions don't even make sense. I was listening to another podcast.
Minimizing their losses.
They were saying how they bought Kingdoms of Amalur, but Kingdoms of Amalur was released by EA and requires EA's permission to re-release. They can't even be buying it for like a HD remake, because they'd need EA for that. I don't know. I mean, obviously they're smart people. They've got a lot of money. They're buying, but I want to know what their end game is. I want to know why they're buying up all these IP and all these companies. But I just thought it was an interesting.
It'd be interesting to see what comes out of it.
And the other
what comes out of it,
sort of tangentially related to this as well, is Microsoft have confirmed purchasing Obsidian and another studio who I've forgotten. Because they had the Microsoft... Oh, and Crackdown got its release date as well.
Okay.
Which I've also forgotten. Organised. Dumpster Fire.
Organised, yeah.
So, I think it's out in February? Yeah. February 2019 for Crackdown 3. If anyone still cares about Crackdown 3.
15th of February. Actually.
15th of February, there you go. For the 5 people who still care about Crackdown 3, collecting those orbs. And yes, now Obsidian have confirmed. I mean, there was another studio that they bought, which was also kind of like, but I've forgotten who it was, and really the only one I cared about was Obsidian because Pillars of Eternity. And I wonder what that means for Pillars of Eternity, because Pillars of Eternity 2 is coming to PlayStation and Switch. And I wonder whether future Pillars of Eternity games will come to other formats, or whether it'll be like, no, it's PC and console only, you dicks. I don't know. But yeah, so that's all the news I wanted to cover anyway.
Yeah.
So sorry to blow through that a little quick. We are a little pressed for time today. And we've had to kind of fit it in around very busy weeks for both of us. So apologies for that. But there's more next week. There's always more.
Yep. There's plenty more.
There's always more.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, usual shit. Follow us on Twitter.
Black Spine Media, blackspinemedia.com for the website. We're on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube as well. You can search for Black Spine Media there. Or 0451 A Gaming Podcast.
Subscribe, like on YouTube, really helpful. And it gives us an indication as well of how many of you guys are listening. And also, don't be afraid to leave comments.
Yeah.
Or hit us up on Twitter. Awesome. Well, again, apologies for the briefness this week, but I think we've done all right.
Yeah, we did all right.
Given how much time we've had.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, cool.
Cool.
Well.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. See you next week.
Bye.